I know that we have the whole election in Virginia, but first, I came across this video, and I thought it'd be really interesting to react to it. Now, a prof had shown me this. She had played it in part of a presentation during class, and just the take was so, I don't know, it was a unique take. It reminded me of why I do not watch this man. Even though I'm a conservative, I just don't watch a lot of Tucker Carlson, and I think takes like this is why. Let's here, I'm gonna play some of this. And actually, hold on, I should probably turn it down just so that's not too loud. You know, if you guys like, oh, I can't hear, whatever, just go watch the YouTube video or something. Here.
You got to wonder how many hours we spent on the show attacking the Communist Party of China. A lot. It's a totalitarian government. Our leaders admire it.
Totalitarianism, by the way, is bad. I'll say that.
It still is our position, probably always will be. On the other
Just
hand,
putting
we
that
want
out
to be
there.
as honest as possible about things we see. So when the Chinese government does something virtuous, doesn't happen much, but we're willing to say so.
Like moving towards
Here's what they've
capitalism,
done.
right?
China's announced it will limit private equity firms from raising money to buy residential properties in China. Why is that? Because Chinese citizens, turns out, need somewhere to live.
Sorry, I missed that last part. I gotta go back.
Are bad for.
Hold on.
Turns out, need somewhere to live. Because Chinese citizens, turns out, need somewhere to live.
No, shoot. My bad. I gotta hold on. Let me rewind. I want to make sure I catch everything.
China. Why is that? Because Chinese
Raising residential
citizens,
property.
turns out, need somewhere to live.
Hold on. Did he not say that totalitarianism is bad? Because
will be. On the other hand, we want to be as honest as possible about things we see. So when the Chinese government does something virtuous, doesn't happen much, but we're willing to say
yeah, so we said totalitarianism is bad.
Here's what they've done. China's announced it will limit private equity firms from raising money to buy residential properties in China. Why is
Isn't that a little bit totalitarianism or totalitarian? Like to be like, you can't raise such and such amount of money to like buy these properties. Like you would think that the most like freedom-loving capitalistic guy would be like, yeah, people just be able to raise whatever money they want, spend it however they want. That's capitalism. Moves like this put you towards totalitarianism. So interesting.
Is that? Because Chinese citizens, turns out, need somewhere to live. Real estate bubbles are bad for everybody except, of course, for a small number of real estate speculators. As the Chinese government put it, houses are for living in, not for speculation. And that's a very good point. They may have learned it from watching, say, the state of California. In California, the average home is now over $800,000, in part thanks to speculation, and homelessness is totally out of control.
Okay, but I really, so if the U.S. government was like, okay, you know, we're gonna have like a cap on the price of housing, for example, or you know, you can't raise money anymore in order to, you know, or buy houses, or you can't like flip houses. Like, I don't think that property values rising alone is a bad thing. One thing you have to consider about California, and I will say this, sorry, it does kind of make sense that the cost of living is so high because everything, well, maybe not everything, but a lot of things balance out. In places where the cost of living is high, you know, the revenue tends to be fairly high. Homelessness is a thing. I think that, you know, the biggest problem really plaguing California is unemployment, not the cost of living. Because look, if you have a job in California, I feel like you probably would be able to survive. Now, it's going to be harder than a lot of other places, but at the same time, it's doable because I feel like it's doable because people are doing it. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't entirely make sense to say that, you know, the values of houses are inherently a bad thing when, you know, as long as you can make enough money to counteract that. Now, some people can't do that. And I think that's the problem, you know. You have to find ways to get people to be able to earn enough money to survive, not try and lower the cost of things that are necessary for people to survive. Because if you do that, then what you're going to have is a decrease in the quality of the goods, and nobody wants that.
Chinese don't want to copy
Sorry
that
for
model.
rambling.
Nor do they want a California-style popular culture, one that worships celebrity over achievement. Obsessing over sleazy famous people on social media, Chinese officials announced that is, quote, poisoning the minds of the country's youth. Can they stop the youth
it's
from
fair.
worshiping celebrities? Probably not.
It's also
but
fair.
At least they're worried about it, and that's a start. They're also, by the
A
way,
start
worried
to
about
what?
video.
What does he want them to do? Ban celebrities? I don't know. It's whack.
Online
Stupid.
gaming for children in China will now be
Also,
limited
candy
to
corn is dope.
3 hours a week.
Eat candy
on
corn.
Weekends. This is being
Okay,
done,
here's
the
what's
government
whack.
says,
Right
quote,
here.
to prevent the addiction to online games. Is that a crazy idea?
Yes. Yes. This is a crazy idea. I don't know. I don't know how you could be like a freedom loving. Well, I'll just let him speak for a little bit more.
Well, according to a recent study in this country, the average American kid plays video games for more than 15 hours a week. A poll from the University of Michigan found that 86% of parents believe their children spent too much time playing video games. Apparently, the other 14% weren't paying attention. So it's a legitimate
They're
problem.
probably just not boomers.
What's interesting is, when was the last time you heard one of our political leaders even mention video games or housing market speculation or celebrity worship as a problem? Now, before you respond by saying that politicians shouldn't be involved in our personal lives, remember that the CDC already very much is involved in our personal lives.
Okay, but hold on. Here's the thing. Conservatives have time and time again been against giving organizations like the CDC that level of control. You know, so to say, well, the CDC is already doing it is not, it's not a good or genuine argument. Because essentially what you're saying is, well, because since they're doing it, it's fine if we do it. No, that's not how it works. You don't use, and this is, you know, why I don't like people like Ron DeSantis. Using big government to fight big government just leads to bigger governments who, you know, when you're gone, people that you don't agree with ideologically, they're going to be in power and then use the very power that you made to counteract your rules. And, you know, it's just a very, very dumb and short-sighted move to be like, hey, we think that people are gaming too much. You know, for example, so let's limit how much video gaming that they can do. You know, like, how much power that would give the government? Imagine if that happened in America, right? Because then let's say that you get some socialist or whatever, like, president, and they're like, oh, I think people are watching Fox News too much. I think people have Fox News addiction, watching 15 hours of Fox News every day. We need to limit Fox News viewing to 3 hours a week. It's kind of a slippery slope, but if you wanted to implement the same thing in China, it's not that difficult to see how easily that could turn against conservatives and turn into other things, not just gaming. Granted, I'm a small government guy. I'm not a big government guy. I'm not a fan of the government sticking their grimy, dirty, oil and blood-soaked hands into our personal lives and being like, hey, you know, you are dumb and don't know how to take care of yourself. I am Big Daddy government. Not a fan of that.
So maybe our government could take just a moment from bossing us around to improve our actual lives once in a while.
Say moment from bossing us around because you're literally arguing for the government to boss us around.
Just go ahead and try. Even if you fail, it will be an improvement. At least you'll know you noticed.
No. Maybe short term. Until the government says you can't watch Fox News anymore for more than like 3 hours a week. And maybe that's a really dumb argument. Maybe it's a slippery slope. Maybe nothing like that would ever happen. But really, we should not be, and I say we because I'm on the right side of the aisle, we should not be arguing for these sorts of policies at all. Really ridiculous. He's the only conservative I've seen praise the Chinese government for limiting, maybe, is he being facetious? I hope he's being facetious. I don't know anybody who thinks that it's a good idea to limit gaming from a governmental level. I just don't understand. That's interesting.